before we get going in today's latest Wrexham AFC video, if you're new watching this, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. We're just over 50 away from hitting 19,000 subscribers, so if you could help me out, get down there and click the red subscribe button. That would mean a lot. And also let me know as well, we've had a few new people on board the last couple of weeks, so let me know where you're watching this video from in the comments section down below. Right, yes guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about 5 potential strikers that could fill in Paul Mullin's role as he is currently injured at the minute. We're going to be going through 5 different names, why I think we should sign them, and yeah, we're just going to be going into a bit of detail about these strikers and why they would fit that role well. Let's try and smash as well 350 likes on today's video, and let's get on to the first striker. So the first striker shouldn't really come as a surprise. It is Luke Armstrong, the Harrogate Town striker. He currently plays in League 2 for Harrogate, the same league as Wrexham. Luke Armstrong has found the back of the net 28 times in the past 2 seasons for Harrogate Town, who unfortunately have found themselves in the bottom 6 each year. So he's been that impressive player in that starting 11 the past 2 seasons. Like I said, 28 goals in a team that's finished in the bottom 6 in the 2 seasons they've been in the Football League is not a bad return. And yeah, like I said, Armstrong is a very impressive player. He's a good player that Harrogate fans highly rate, and he's been a key player in Simon Weaver's team ever since he did sign him. Most notably, he's only missed 1 game over the past 2 seasons. He did actually play 46 out of 46 games last year in League 2 and 45 out of 46 the season before. So injury issues aren't really a problem with Armstrong. He's consistent and you know you can get the best out of him. The 22-23 season was a very good one for Armstrong, as he had 22 goal involvements for Harrogate Town. That is 0.48 per 90 minutes. He did actually outscore his XG of 13.18. As we know, Armstrong actually scored 16 goals, so he's very clinical in front of goal. That's something we do obviously know already. 28 goals, and last season 22 goal involvements. It just shows not only can he hit the back of the net, but he's very important and very vital when it comes to creating chances and scoring goals. Armstrong is quite a similar striker to Paul Mullin. Loves to get himself about up front. 55% of Armstrong's shots actually did hit the target last season, 55% of his 77 shots. So he's a good striker. He knows when to hit the back of the net and he knows how to hit the back of the net. And as well as being a good goal scorer, like I've said, he loves to help out in attacks as well, recording 6 assists last season. That is higher than 74% of other players in League 2 last year. So Armstrong last season did get 16 goals and 6 assists, which I mean is not a bad return at all. Now there's definitely a chance that Luke Armstrong could be in a Wrexham shirt very soon. That is because last week he did actually remove himself from the Harrogate Town squad away at Doncaster, but unfortunately they're not the news we really wanted. If any Wrexham fans wanted to see Armstrong sign for Wrexham, he then did feature for Harrogate Town in their game on Saturday away at Forest Green. That is because Simon Weaver said none of the bids that they'd currently got have been improved since they asked for new ones. So I don't know, if Wrexham were one of the teams that are in for Armstrong, then I definitely couldn't see us not putting in a higher bid, especially if we wanted him that much. It's not like Wrexham's just put one bid in and just completely leave it at that. That makes me do think if Wrexham are genuinely interested in Armstrong, we don't know, but he'd be a striker I would absolutely love to see in a Wrexham shirt, and I think he'd fill Paul Mullin's boots in very, very well. And if he wanted to play and wanted to push himself to the maximum that he can possibly play at, then there's no better place than Wrexham for that. So that's the first striker I would like to see replace Paul Mullin, Luke Armstrong. Now the next striker I would like to see signed for Wrexham is Tariq Fosu. Now a few of you might know his name from his time at Brentford. Now Fosu is a 27-year-old who was actually released this season by Premier League side Brentford after spending the season on loan at Rotherham in the Championship, where he did rack up 39 appearances and 3 goals. Now Fosu is a very, very versatile player. He can play on either wings and he has no problem in slotting up front. Unfortunately for Fosu, he hasn't really found his stride the past 2 seasons. Now in the 2021 season he played a massive role in Brentford's promotion to the Premier League, where he did play 41 times, including 8 goal contributions that season, where he did impress alongside the likes of Mbermo, Ivan Toney and Said Benrahma. So he was a key player for them in that final third for Brentford. It's a shame to see what's happened to Tariq Fosu the past 2 seasons. Obviously his game time has been limited at Brentford. He's got the move to Rotherham, 39 appearances. That's not a bad return. He's obviously had a solid season, but he does actually find himself without a club 2 months after being released. Now, last season for Rotherham, Tariq Fosu actually made 35 key passes. That's averaging 1.2 key passes per 90 minutes. So it shows that not only can he score goals, create chances up front, but he can find that killer pass and he can create chances very, very easily. Now, I think, in my opinion, it's a massive ask to bring Fosu in because obviously we know he's an established Championship player. But I mean, a short-term contract until the end of the season would not hurt Tariq Fosu. Obviously, it's going to be hard to keep him on for a long-term deal. But if he's looking to get back playing Championship level and if he can't find a club at the minute, a short-term contract at Wrexham until the end of the year would be absolutely good, because it's a good chance for him to be the star of the show at Wrexham, and it's a good chance to sort of revive his career and do really, really well in the Wrexham shirt. Now, I think he would be good up front because obviously he offers something different that we don't really have. He's skillful, he's fast on the ball, he's very pacey, like I've already said. So he would be that something different that we don't really have in this team, but it's just about whether he does want to drop down to League Two. If the money's right and if he wants to have that ambition, if he can see where the club wants to go, then surely he wouldn't mind joining Wrexham. But like I said, his most impressive season was in the 19-20 season for the Bees, where he did actually score 12 goals in 46 games for Brentford. The quality's there, it's just about which manager is willing to bring the best out of him again. And yeah, I think Phil Parkinson could be that man, so that's one other striker that I would like to see in a Wrexham shirt, Tariq Fosu. The next striker is Kabongo Shimanga. This shouldn't really be a surprise to you, as I spoke about Shimanga a lot in the past few videos, and I still believe there is a big chance that we could go in and sign Kabongo. He's sort of out of favour at the minute at Darren Ferguson's Peterborough side, and now I think is the perfect time if we wanted to bring Shimanga in. Shimanga is 25 years of age, 115 goals in his career, and some people are put off by Shimanga because of the fact he is a non-league striker and he hasn't proven himself in the EFL. But if you've watched his 21-22 season for Chesterfield, it was clear that Shimanga could have easily played in the Championship or League One. It was an unfortunate leg break that did cut his season to an end very shortly in February against Weymouth. Now, let me give you an incredible stat about Kabongo Shimanga. He did suffer a leg break in the 21-22 season, and he did actually finish second in the top scoring charts, only 2 goals behind our current striker Paul Mullin, despite only playing 58% of the games in the National League season. That is averaging 0.9 goals every 90 minutes. That is an absolutely ridiculous stat. Now, you could make a case about the fact that Shimanga hasn't scored in the 10 games he has played for Peterborough, but when you've got the likes of Johnson Clark Harris, Efrons Mason Clark and Ricky J Jones ahead of you, it's going to be hard to jump just straight into the team like that. He's obviously going to have to work, and it hasn't really worked out for Shimanga at Peterborough, and people saying that he hasn't been the same player since his injury, I can sort of agree with that, but I can't at the same time, because obviously he wanted to leave Chesterfield, so he wasn't really playing much there, and people are put off by the fact he only scored 6 goals in the 22-23 season. But it was going to be hard for him to just jump straight like that into the Peterborough side. But like I said, it hasn't really worked out, and I think with Shimanga in a good environment, he could do really, really well. Like I said, in a positive environment where he's getting game time, and like I said, where at Wrexham he'd be filling in that number 10 role for Paul Mullin, he's going to score goals. He's proven it in the past. He's clinical. He's a poacher. And like I said, the environment needs to be right for Kabongo Shimanga to get firing again, and I think we would get the absolute best out of him. I think it's clear to see as well at the minute that Shimanga is definitely short of confidence, like Darren Ferguson said in an interview after their last game. But if he plays in the right team, and if he's got players around him that are giving him positive energy, and he's getting game time, that's the most important thing. If you do play Shimanga, and if you get the chemistry right around him, he's going to score goals. Like we've seen 24 and 27 for Chesterfield not too long ago. We would get the best out of him, I can guarantee that. The only thing that people are being put off by is his £500,000 price tag. Now, Kabongo is 25 years of age. They signed him for a rumoured £700,000. They're not just going to let him go for 200, 300,000. They're going to want to get at least some money back for Shimanga. So £500,000 is probably the minimum of what we're going to get him for. So yeah, it's big, but if we're going to want a striker of his qualities, then we're obviously going to have to pay that type of money. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Kabongo Shimanga when he is fully firing again in a Wrexham shirt, because I know for a fact he would score goals. Now, the fourth striker we're going to be talking about could surprise some of you at home, maybe a name you weren't expecting. This is Jonathan Afolabi. Now, Afolabi is a 23-year-old striker who currently plays for Republic of Ireland side Bohemians, and it's a bit of an unexpected one, but let's get talking about Afolabi. Now, this current season is Afolabi's best season to date, where he has scored 10 goals and got 3 assists in 25 games in the League of Ireland. Now, it could be a bit of a 50-50 signing, as he struggled to really score goals in his career, only 7 in the past 2 seasons when he was over in Scotland. But as we've seen this season, he's flourished and he's done really well over at Bohemians. He currently sits 3rd in the top scoring charts in Ireland, and he's recently picked up July's Play of the Month. Now, despite being 6'2", not really what Wrexham fans really want at the minute. Obviously, you've got Dolby and Palmer, who are 2 big strikers. Although he's 6'2", your immediate thoughts are that maybe he's a hold-up striker, but no, he's a very fast striker. I've seen some of his clips. He is absolutely rapid. He can cause havoc up top, and of course, if we were to sign him, we would be signing him off a very good season so far for Afolabi. Now, with Afolabi impressing of late, it would definitely require probably a 6-figure transfer fee. If we're rumoured to be paying just under 100,000 for Luke McNicholas, then I think we're probably looking at maybe 200,000 for Afolabi. Now, you could say that's a risk because it's his first major good season as a striker. You know, 10 goals, I believe that's the most he's scored in a season in his career. But like I said, he's 23, he's still got loads to learn, and he's sort of peaking at such a good time. We've seen other players in the Irish divisions going to League One clubs. For example, the striker that did play for Luke McNicholas' side, he has recently gone to Shrewsbury Town, so it would not surprise me in the slightest if an English club was to come in for Afolabi, and I think it's definitely worth a punt. It's just a question of whether Afolabi is able to adapt to how we play in League Two. He'd obviously have to do it very quickly, because if he fails to adapt by the time Paul Mullin comes back, he could struggle to get back in the starting 11. But if we could get him to do really well, if we could get him to click really fast, then he could be a really good striker. He's proven it this year. He looks good up front, and if I'm being honest, it's probably the smarter option going for someone who's proven themselves in League 2 or League 1. They know the league inside out, they know how it's played, they know how to score goals. So that's the only bad thing about Afolabi. But having said that, he's played for Southampton, he's played in the Premier League Division 2, so he's got a taster of English football, but obviously that's youth football, so it could be a punt going for Afolabi, and it could be a risk. I'm not totally against this potential signing. Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you back signing Afolabi, or do you think it's a bit of a risk because he hasn't played in the English Football League yet? And the 5th and final option is stick with what we've got. Now, this is probably unexpected because obviously it's 5 strikers that Wrexham could possibly sign, but that's my final option. Stick with what we've got. We've seen against Wimbledon, we didn't do too badly with Ollie Palmer up front. I think he's massively improved so far since the start of the League 2 campaign, and you've got Sam Dolby yet to make a real statement of intent in League 2 so far this season, and like we've seen last season, he became a really good player for us, so he's still awaiting his chance to show if he can cement himself as a starting player in our 11. And Billy Waters, I mean, he didn't do that well against MK Dons. I've got nothing against Billy Waters. I still think he's a very good player, as he's shown at Barrow, but does he really suit the way how we're going to play going forward? Does he suit being in the starting 11? Because obviously he started against MK Dons. I do believe he came off at the hour mark and then hasn't really played much since that MK Dons game. And then obviously you got Bickerstaff, a young player, really impressed a lot of people against Wigan, and when he did come on against MK Dons, a few people were surprised he didn't start against Wimbledon. But yeah, I don't know. If we were to bring another striker in though, I could see possibly Bickerstaff going out on loan. I think that is the plan Parkinson has got. Maybe see what he's all about in the first opening 2 games. And then obviously if we do get that striker in, then you could possibly loan him out. You could get a National League team or North team to come in for him. And if he does get game time, I think he could possibly play a role in the future for us. I mean, Parkinson has said he's put a couple of bids on the table for strikers, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do get to the end and we haven't actually bought one in, because it's going to be hard to sign players at this time in this season, so don't be surprised if we aren't able to bring a striker in. Yeah, there's no problem in working with what we've got. I think we've definitely got quality in that final third. Like I said, Ollie Palmer, Sam Dolby, Billy Waters, all capable of scoring goals. It's just whether they're able to take that responsibility that Paul Mullin had and really perform in filling Paul Mullin's boots, which is definitely a hard thing to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do stick with what we've got. So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below one striker you would like to see put on a Wrexham shirt in replacement of Paul Mullin whilst he is injured at the minute. We don't know how long Paul Mullin's going to be out for, but yeah, let me know, is there anyone on this list you'd like to see? Is there anyone that I haven't put in this list you'd like to see? And yeah, I will see you in tomorrow's vlog where we do face Walsall, our first game under the floodlights on a Tuesday night. I cannot wait for that, my first home vlog of the League 2 season, so make sure to drop a like, turn on the notification bell so you do not miss that, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Until then, up the town.